My random selector of years landed on 1941. My first instinct was to dismiss the year. Surely, I thought to myself, no great movie came out in 1941. Boy, was I wrong. Not only had I already watched and enjoyed over 5 movies from that year, but 1941 had also produced some of the most important films of all time. Citizen Kane and The Maltese Falcon came out this year. Therefore, this is the year that Bogart becomes a star. It is the year that film noir is truly born. It is also the second year of what is, in my opinion, the most influential decade in all of cinema. 1941 is also rather unfortunate as far as history is concerned. Pearl Harbor is attacked by Imperial Japan. Nazi Germany is ramping up its effort to massacre even more people. Africa is under the tight grip of the colonial powers, and some parts of Kenya are being attacked by the Italians. All in all, it's a year that no time traveler would enjoy going back to. This is why I'm glad that I'm a film time traveler instead. All I'll be doing is going back in time for an hour or two, and then immediately jetting back to the comforts of our relatively peaceful century. The first time I watched Citizen Kane was in 2019. I was in a drunken stupor, and all I could remember the next morning was that it had made me feel uneasy. Given that I don't rewatch movies that leave me with an acrid mental aftertaste, I have always assumed it wasn't deserving of its many accolades. I was wrong. Citizen Kane has been called the greatest movie of all time. It has been described as Orson Welles' best movie. While I disagree with both statements, there's little doubt as to its greatness. When you watch it, you understand why it's been part of the cinephile canon since its release. Let me talk about the 5 reasons I love Citizen Kane. One thing cannot be disputed. Citizen Kane is a masterwork. Far ahead of its time in technique, impressively arresting, deceptively simple to us with modern eyes. But if you've watched as many movies from the 30s and 40s as I have, you can immediately tell that this is different. For the first time since the introduction of sound, there's a revolution happening. I believe Citizen Kane should get as much credit as The Maltese Falcon for inventing the vibe that has become synonymous with film noir. The word chiaroscuro came to me multiple times when watching this movie. Orson Welles' command of shadow and light is something Caravaggio would be proud of. And yes, this is a black and white movie. Yes, you can tell whether a movie has great cinematography despite this. The images will stick to you the same way they do in Casablanca, Metropolis, or Rebecca. Citizen Kane leaves its mark. It contributes greatly to the feel of movies for the next 2 decades. You only have to watch any movie that came before it, and those that were made after it, to understand its influence. Other than the opening newsreel, most of this movie is told from the perspective of those who knew Charles Foster Kane when he was alive. It follows a reporter who's been tasked with deciphering Kane's final words. The reporter, through reading memoirs and interviewing his friends, reveals to us the story of Charles Foster Kane. I'll be honest with you. Before my sober rewatch of the movie, I thought that Citizen Kane would be great, but wouldn't hold my attention after its final scene. Casablanca and A Shop Around the Corner are rewatchable. The Big Sleep and The Philadelphia Story can serve as eye candy as you listen to music on your headphones. Would a movie that follows the exploits of a spoiled rich man be as fun as My Man Godfrey? I was wrong. The script is competent, the acting is superb, and the mystery at the heart of the story is in fact quite easy to solve. It is a rewarding movie that is highly quotable, and for this reason, it is now part of my canon. The first time I saw Orson Welles on screen was when I watched The Lady from Shanghai. It was love at first sight. There was a certain nonchalance that was present in his acting. He had the playfulness of Errol Flynn and a tinge of seriousness that one would expect from Bogart. He shines in this movie. It is, after all, a psychological thriller. You can see him age on screen, not because of the makeup or the practical effects, but because of the weight that each decade he acquires seems to have on his acting. He starts as a bright-eyed young man who takes over a newspaper and ends up as an old man with regret. And not once did I doubt him. He disappears into this role. This is rare for an actor with a personality as distinct as his. I was frustrated when the reporter walked away without an answer to the movie's central mystery. Who the hell is Rosebud? Nearly everyone who knew Charles Foster Kane believed it was a lover. How wrong they were. Rosebud was his innocence, his youth, as personified by the sled which bore the same name. We see it getting thrown into the furnace as the movie winds down. How apt. Walter Parks Thatcher, the man tasked by Kane's mother to be his guardian, recalls getting hit in the stomach by the sled when he first met Kane. This is an impressive image. And if we can accept that Rosebud represented his lost innocence or joy or something, we can interpret this as the last stand of his youth. It lost. His sled is left lying on the snow as he's dragged away into a world where he would live without his parents. His friend, Jed Leland, says that Ken wanted everyone to love him, but he had no love to give back. Rosebud is the key as to why this is the case. He was taken away from his parents at an important stage. Could he have been a better man if he had stayed with them? Could he have been happier if he had been left to play with Rosebud for a few more years? I think Ken, as he's taking his last breath, believes this. I Love the Union Forever, a song by the White Stripes. I had always thought it was a weird song. It presents itself as a love song, but when you listen to it, it doesn't feel like it. Perhaps it's due to its nonsensical lyrics, or the fact that the Union Forever is a rather strange phrase for expressing a love that should last forever. Before my sober rewatch of this movie, I always liked the song's out-of-place lyrics. Just a few minutes into the movie, I had my eureka moment. It seems that the White Stripes were obsessed with Citizen Kane. The Union Forever is something young Ken shouts when his future is being arranged by his mother and Thatcher. Sorry, but I'm not interested in gold mines, oil wells, shipping, or real estate is a quote from Citizen Kane that appears verbatim in the song. A portion from the middle of the song is also lifted from a song that was created to praise Ken in the movie. This connection between Citizen Kane and a song I like shows that the movie's cultural influence is greater than I expected. It has made me appreciate the movie even more. Citizen Kane has been called the greatest movie of all time. While I disagree with this, I get it. It is a great movie that propelled Hollywood to a new age. However, a look into the 1940s reveals an impressive array of movies that have a shot at the title. Orson Welles' The Third Man is one of them. My favorite movie of this era, Casablanca, is another that has always been in the GOAT conversation. Perhaps one day, after I've watched more movies, I'll try to provide a definitive answer to what is essentially a subjective question.